And now that you're making these calls, it's very important you track these calls and see how they are going, what's the success rate, and what are the scope for improvement in the way you have been making calls. I tend to note each and every one of my calls. Uh, Whether I dialed, nobody picked up, I left a voicemail, I note down that. Whether somebody picked up, talked to me, I left the, I note that down. If and nobody picked up, I did not leave a voicemail. I tried, which I tried not to do if I have reached the person earlier in the day or yesterday. I don't try to leave the voicemail. So I note them down too. It's it's helped me understand when I'm trying to call him after a week or two to see how many times I have tried reaching this person, what time of the day I have tried reaching this person, and based on that I can decide how much more times should I keep trying to reach this person. So it's very important that you track this call. What I do is I when I'm calling, I don't want to go and update Zoho and do some more changes, come back and then start thinking about the call again. So I take a notepad. I I write after each call. I have a specific format in which I write and keep noting down in the notepad. I and the header I give a company name. Under that I give a today's date and say Rakesh called XYZ at this time. Say Rakesh called John at 4:38 p.m. Full stop. Say if the person, if I say left voicemail or did not leave voicemail after that, depending if the person doesn't pick up. If the person picks up, I say I this was the discussion. This is what happened, and so on after that. And this goes as one sentence in my notepad. In case I have been trying to reach somebody and that's not a direct number, I go to the operator or uh, I press. I generally try to use the name directory, which is a very important tool. It's much easier to go to a name directory, dial the last name of the person, and go to the person's to get transferred to the person's desk, rather than going to the operator, telling the last name, spelling it out, and then he or she transferring it to you. So I try using the name directory in a company as often as I can, wherever it's possible. So in those cases, I also write down what's the number that I use to dial those things. Say Rakesh called John at 4:38 p.m. Press 2 for name directory. Uh, got transferred. In case there's extension which is being told, I say get transferred to extension 4159, or just say get transferred, and then say left voicemail or did not left voicemail. I use left VM or did not leave VM. So at the end of an hour or two, I generally have a list of these different notes available with the company name at the top, and then the three or four or more sentences saying the date and what has happened and so on, and then a company name and a bunch of them, and so on. So I have all those notes available at the end of the of my session. And when I stop calling after the session, then I go to Zoho, update all of these. I also use a star at the beginning of those conversations where I have made some traction, where I've talked to someone, so that I can look at them very carefully. If you are looking at a description of one of the accounts, and you have many different entries which says Rakesh called John at this, Rakesh called John at that, and so on. It becomes very difficult to see which of those are the interesting thing which you should look at when you're making the next call. So I can always go back and look at all the entries which are starting with star, so I know that something has been discussed with someone or someone else in the company. So I use that information and I put that in the description field. Description. I use the description field because that field is something which is available at the first initial screen at the page. I do not use in the activity or a task, because then I have to open up an activity to see what all has happened in the past when I'm on account page and when making a call. So I don't. Notes is something which was not very friendly. The older version of Zoho, you have to open it. The newer version, all the notes come directly, so you can always use a notes queue along with instead of a description if you prefer to do that. The point is that all the information should be readily available in front of me. I should not be opening, going and checking something else, coming back, because then it will divert my attention from what I'm doing at this point of time.